recording this panel. And that is because we have a very high interest, and in case any students are not able to attend, we want to make sure that we have a recording of this phenomenal panel and this wonderful discussion that we're going to be having. So on that note, my team, you can go ahead and start recording. Thank you. All right, and I'll send it over to Liliana.
Hi everyone, my name is Liliana. I am collaborating with the WLAC Career Center today. I am from LA Harbor College, sister college, and I am so happy to be here today. Again, like the team at West LA, we do similar services for our students here.
All right, for students attending, whether you're from West or Harbor or any of the 9 campuses, please use this QR code to sign in. All you need to do is enter your student ID number. We'll also be dropping the link in the chat. So if you're having any issues with the QR code, just go ahead and use that link. I would like to introduce the rest of the Career Center team that's here from West as well. Kimberly, can you say hello?
Hi everyone, my name is Kimberly Soria Guzman. I am a career advisor here at West LA. I'm also a faculty instructor. Very nice to meet you. I could help you all individually with resumes, cover letters, career exploration, and all the good stuff.
Great, thank you, Kimberly. And how about Matt?
Hey everyone, my name is Matt Sugden. I'm a student success coach here at the West LA College Career Center, and I also work at the Climate Center on campus.
And Arania?
Hi everybody, my name is Urania. I'm a intern here at the Career Center. I used to be a student worker. That's why I stuttered in the beginning because I was about to say student worker. But yeah, I also can help with certain services at the Career Center if you guys ever need an appointment there. Thank you.
Wonderful. And we'll go ahead and move into the next slide. Liliana? Maybe we lost her for a moment. Well, today we're thrilled to introduce a group of accomplished professionals who will share their experiences, insights, and advice on building a successful career in the growing technology industry. Our panelists represent various sectors and roles, offering a comprehensive look into the possibilities within the technical landscape. One of our moderators is here by the name of Professor Bill Williams. Professor Williams, are you available to welcome the group and say a little bit about yourself?
I am. Thank you. Thank you, Danielle. I first want to start off by thanking the career team for pulling this together. And when Danielle reached out to me, I thought this was great. And now seeing what's done, I even think it's better. So I want to thank everybody's time in pulling this together. I think it's great. As Danielle said, I am a professor at West Los Angeles College in the computer science department. I come to West from the industry. I spent 40 years in IT, starting and building infrastructures and large-scale computers at the Aerospace Corporation. So now I'm at West, and I'm looking forward to speaking about this topic and working with students who are interested in the field of information technology. So thank you.
Next slide. So there's a little bit about Professor Williams. He shared just a moment ago, and we hopefully have a slide for every panelist that's here. If we are missing you, we're going to do our best to get that resolved right away. We'll move on to the next slide and just briefly introduce the other 2 moderators. I'm Danielle Shepard. Most of you know me. I'm one of the career advisors and also part of our employer engagement team here at the Career Center, and also a faculty here at West and also across the district. Next slide.
Hi
Liliana?
everyone. Yes, hi everyone again. I'm Liliana from LA Harbor College. If you are a Harbor College student, go ahead and send me a private message letting me know you're here in case you need credit for the future. Or also go ahead and sign in through the sign-in sheet for attendance, please.
Next slide. You want to kick us off,
And
Liliana?
then, yes, today, thank you everyone for being here. Again, I'm so excited to work with you all. I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but I am a small team of one. And so I'm happy to be working in a team, right? Again, we're a small campus, and I hope we do have some students here today. But moving on, we would like you to meet all of our panelists. And if we can please start with Mr. Patrick Luce. If you can please introduce yourself very briefly, and then we'll go over the next person. Hopefully we can start the questions.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Patrick Luce. I am the Chief Information Security Officer for LACCD. I'm responsible for all aspects of cybersecurity, including security technology, policy, legal compliance, risk management, etc. So auditing, cybersecurity is an extremely broad area, and so I'm responsible for all of them for LACCD.
Thank you so much. Do we have James Amada today?
Yes. Yeah, close enough. Hi, I'm James Omada. I've been in IT for about 20 years now. And I started back when there were no IT programs for school. So a lot of people that were already in IT, like my coworkers, anyone older, it was a hobby. It was a hobby that we ended up turning into a career. So that's why when I noticed that West LA was having actually IT programs, I was like, oh, this would actually be interesting to take some of these courses to see what it's like to have it in a teaching setting. But as far as LA Harbor College goes, like yourself, I'm actually originally from that area. So in fact, I did take a couple semesters at Harbor College, like, long time ago. But it is my original hometown, actually. But I'm over here in Culver and taking classes out of West LA. And my primary thing has been actually Apple support, and I've turned that niche into job offerings a lot of times because everywhere was always Windows support, and every place always needed someone that knew Macs. So I just became like the Mac person that got picked because no one else knew Macs. So it was a great niche to have, and background is in education, in math and education. So I love helping people with IT stuff. Any question they have, if they're trying to break in, if they're already in, what to get into next, to go, like if you're already a sysadmin, like what to try to do to get past the sysadmin, like where roles are going, or how AI is turning things, just like how cloud turned things about 10, 15 years ago. Because that teaching background, just love to talk to people about IT since I have, decades. Just like the professor, he has way more decades, but same concept, just like helping basically.
Thank you, James. Can we have Mr. Albert Sarian present themselves?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Albert Sarian. I'm the Chief IT Manager for Enterprise Services and Applications for the Los Angeles Community College District. I oversee our application development for our ERP systems, both for the student information system and our HR and finance system. I also oversee the web services for the entire district.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then can we move on to Mr. Trey?
For sure. Good afternoon, or I'm not really sure what time zone everybody's in. My name is Trey Kelly. I'm originally by way of Atlanta. Right now, I work at the Aerospace Corporation. I did my undergrad at North Carolina A&T State University. I graduated in 2023. Then I went to Northwestern University. These are both computer engineering degrees, and I did my master's in computer engineering with a specialization in AI and machine learning. So at the Aerospace Corporation, I am an AI and machine learning engineer over here. like everybody else, I assume this started as a hobby. Probably, I only have 1 decade, so probably like 10 years ago. And I started off doing penetration testing when I was around 15 to 18, and then I went to school for computer engineering, and it kind of just took off from there. So that's what I do professionally. I also have, I run a consulting business and an educational technology startup. So looking forward to hearing from you guys. Any advice I can give. I was just right where you guys were. So.
Danielle?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mario Perez. I'm a highly experienced information technology security specialist, network engineer, and practitioner educator. I'm happy to tell you that I'm a proud of the community college district. Especially, I got my associate degree from LA Technical College. This helped me to launch a student worker position at district office. And I've been doing network engineering for the district, securing the wide area network of the district for the last 22 years. Currently, I'm working at Los Angeles Valley College, developing their cybersecurity program and AI, and also a principal investigator for the National Science Foundation, developing 2 non-credit certificates on cybersecurity and 2 credit certificates on AI and cybersecurity. And glad to be here. Thank you.
So glad you're here, Mario. Janelle, can you introduce yourself briefly?
Hey, I'm a security engineer at Snap, best known for Snapchat. Previously studied computer science and statistics and not bio writing at UC Berkeley, and focused on machine learning and cybersecurity. I'm relatively early in my career, but interned at Amazon, among other things. And yeah, like many others, it started as a hobby, and I also only have 1 decade of experience.
Love that, and love having the wide range of folks here who have been in the field a very long time, and then newer folks as well. It's really good for our students to see. And Stephanie, are you able to unmute yourself?
Yes, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm recovering from a cold, so that's why my voice is like a little weird, but I am a first-generation college student. My family, I'm pursuing mechanical engineering, and I just got accepted into Cal State Northridge, so I'll be transferring there in the spring. Currently, I am a business coach with LATech.org, but I'm an alumni from their program, and I mostly focus on their software engineering path, where I got to learn Python for the first time and actually have a group project using Python. But also this past summer, I was able to intern at an aerospace manufacturing company called Glenair. Oh, I didn't mention it in my bio, but yeah, that's where I kind of focus more on like the mechanical side, like hardware. But yeah, I do believe that there's a lot of programming and a lot of CS that even go to mechanical engineering, and it's even built in our curriculum.
Thank you, Stephanie. And Lizbeth?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lizbeth Morales, the Senior Coordinator of Tenant Programs at LATech.org. Before I go into my bio, I just want to give a brief overview of what LATech.org is. We are a nonprofit organization that connects talented individuals in LA County to paid internship opportunities through programs such as our Rising Internship, in which we're currently recruiting for spring 2026, sorry. And then, but we also have other internships with our partner companies that are long year, or like we're recruiting long years. So whether that is you're interested in the technical field or marketing or business, we do have internships. Again, they are paid. So we believe that internships should be paid work, especially for individuals trying to break into these career paths. A little bit about myself is I support the learning and career development opportunities for our students and early career professionals, and then also see the life cycle of our program. So from reviewing applications to info sessions. I'll go ahead and include our flyer as so in the chat. That way, if anyone is interested, you're available to sign up for an info session. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We're such huge fans of LA Tech and their programs there. We do have another panelist. I think is there another slide there? Or do we need a, oh, okay, we already covered. So Professor Williams is our moderator, co-moderator, but also one of our panelists. And then we also have Vincent Caleb here. Vincent, are you able to unmute yourself, and we can, we'd love to add you to our slides, but in the meantime, can we go ahead and hear from you a little bit?
Sure, yeah, and I apologize. Yeah, hi, my name is Vincent Calop. I'm an associate professor at Long Beach City College, and I teach in computer studies, more specifically as it relates to artificial intelligence. I I have a background in computer information systems, and I got my master's in education. And I'm still kind of fairly new, like some of my panelists here, to kind of artificial intelligence, probably within the last decade or so. I was trained at through programs at MIT and Stanford in and around artificial intelligence, and I've just been kind of playing around with it and having fun in the space since probably about maybe 2018. Prior to that of ChatGPT's drop. But I presume that it's created kind of a huge interest here, and it's very pervasive across industries. So it's exciting to see kind of a lot of people being excited in the space too as well. I currently do some research at CSU as it relates to AI in education. So I do research there, and I've created and developed an entire program at Long Beach City College around AI certifications, and hopefully developing a program by fall 26. So glad to be here, and I love to hear what everybody else has to share. Thanks so much.
Okay, and last but not least, we also have some of our colleagues from LA County Fire. Shauna, or anyone from your team, are you able to unmute yourself and just share a little bit about why you guys are here and how you're supporting?
Absolutely. Good morning, afternoon. My name is Shauna Lewis. I am the manager of the County of Los Angeles Fire Department's Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. I have 4 of my dynamic management analysts in the room with me, as well as I believe one of our fire captains. In my role, I advance data-driven equity strategies across recruitment, professional development, language access, and community engagement. My team, we build workforce pipelines through programs such as the Women's Fire Prep Academy, Girls Fire Camp, and we strengthen compliance in alignment with the county's priorities for anti-racism and equal employment opportunity. We partner across the county with other departments and community groups to make sure that our hiring practices are equitable and inclusive. And we have a dynamic IT team. IT is the core of what we do, because without technology and without innovative strategies, lives are at risk. And so we're always looking for wonderful talent to join our department and to learn more about the wonderful opportunities that we have at LA County Fire. So we're excited to be here and really grateful to sit, listen, learn, and partner. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for being here. Professor Williams, would you like to kick off the first question?
Sure. And to the panel, the first question that we're presenting is, what emerging tools in cybersecurity and tech should professionals start preparing for? And I guess we just who would like to answer that question?
Yeah, that's right. Whoever would like to answer, just raise your hand, and Professor Williams or myself will just call on you, and you can unmute yourself. Some questions we'll have a chance to hear from everyone. Some we'll just hear from a few of you. So would anyone like to? Mario, thank you.
Given my background on network security and data integrity and virtualization, one of the major trends that professionals need to prepare, one of the main ones will be how do we secure the cloud and hybrid environments, not only on the network part of the house, but also how do we, now we have the AI systems. We need to start working on how do we secure the system? How do we make sure that they are, there's the converge between the cloud and the hybrid environments. Another area that they need to concentrate is on what we call it the zero trust architecture. Because remember, currently there is no trust. So we need to not trust anyone. So we need to work on how do we make sure that everyone that connects to the network is secure and is not a threat to us. And finally, the last one is we need to start working with the operation technology or OIT security. Because remember, now everybody's working from remotely. We don't know what kind of devices they're connecting to a network. So we need to make sure that we are using the traditional security perimeters to make sure everything is secure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. Do we have any other panelists who would like to?
I see Albert's hand and I see Trey's hand. Albert, you want to go next?
Sure. Thank you, everyone. Being in the application and software development area, a lot of the tools, or at least components that we're seeing being integrated into our processes, is more intelligent IDEs or modern IDEs that have AI integrated into it that allow smarter autocomplete or suggestions when you're developing code. So it's improving our, I guess, the development and efficiency of application development. And what we've also seen is obviously there's a lot of tools out there related to data analytics. And one of the biggest, I guess, additions has been really integrating AI for predictive analytics. And that's been a large impact in terms of how we see the development field change. A lot of the predictive analytics provide, optimized resources, and they, help with detecting anomalies and other data points.
Thank you, Albert. And just to add to that, and what we're seeing, because this kind of talks about the emerging trends in cybersecurity. The cybersecurity tools that are in place today are incorporating elements of AI in their tools. So that will certainly make the job easier, but you're leveraging these tools, but you want to understand what the function that they're doing. So you really understand what they're doing, but they are being integrated to all the different tools that you use, that the industry uses to manage networks, to protect networks. So that was a great point, Albert. I just wanted to highlight that. Danielle, do we have another person?
We do. Trey, was your hand up next?
It was.
Okay.
And
then Janelle.
So the question was, what emerging trends in cybersecurity and tech should professionals be preparing for now? My first love when it came to this tech stuff was cybersecurity initially. But a lot of the work that I do now is AI, machine learning related, and integrating those systems with the large amounts of data that these different companies have. And so the cliche answer is the emerging trends are AI. So getting to know what tools are coming out, whether they're the agents, whether they're the retrieval augmented generation things that help you augment LLMs, whether it's just simple automation pipelines. This is all coming, and it's going to affect every single field. To Bill's point, there are now tools in cybersecurity I still keep up where, all these tools are starting to head towards AI. So, for example, I heard of something where somebody put together a tool where you could turn on the mic of a computer and it could listen to the keys that you were tapping. And then the AI would go back through and it would tell you passwords and stuff of that nature. I know that was a big thing. I thought that was super cool whenever I found it. But the emerging trends are now big data and AI. So going back to cloud, how we're securing the cloud, how we're utilizing that data in the cloud to make meaningful insights, and overall just start preparing to work with the automation and the AI instead of against it. That's what I would have to say.
Thank you, Trey.
Okay, Professor Caleb.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you call on me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Thanks, Vincent.
Yeah, no worries. First, I think that AI-driven, cybersecurity is really becoming the kind of the new standard as some of the other panelists kind of already mentioned. When I think of specific kind of tools, and I don't want to, I'm not necessarily endorsing any particular tool, but a lot of tools that I've seen like CrowdStrike, Falcon, Microsoft Sentinel, and Darktrace are already using kind of machine learning to detect and neutralize threats, kind of faster than human analysts can respond to. But I think that as AI becomes embedded in every layer of business operations, professionals also need to understand AI model security, as Bill kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, right? How to safeguard the systems that are making decisions, essentially. When we're talking about kind of a more broader kind of tool set, obviously there's a rise in agentic automation and kind of these no code, low code ecosystems, right? Tools like Power Automate, Zapier, and PlayLab AI allow non-coders to build powerful integrations between applications. And so you're seeing just kind of this equal playing field now, that and I've seen in a lot of these articles now, from Harvard and a lot of these prestigious universities, of individuals kind of almost leaving computer science, right? Not necessarily computer science, but coding kind of programs, and really kind of just living now in the AI and kind of machine learning field, because what you're seeing is kind of the integration into cybersecurity and these broader systems. So those are some of the tools that kind of come to mind to answer that question.
Thank you so much for that. And Janelle.
Kind of building off of what Trey and Professor Caleb were saying, there's a lot of opportunities with AI in the security field in terms of detecting. There are, lots of tools like, for example, CrowdStrike Falcon are using AI to detect and respond to things. In addition, companies and other institutions are using AI systems for non-security reasons. And especially when we start talking about agentic AI, where the AI is making decisions in conjunction with a human user. Now we have to think about, do we trust the user who's acting here, but also do we trust the data that the agents that they might be using are based off of? And this is a rapidly evolving space where we're seeing some of the companies on the frontier of this sort of thing. There's not necessarily commercial tooling for effective MCP and agentic AI security and monitoring and governance. So we're seeing a lot of opportunities to build out tools that are necessary for that, where the commercial alternative just might not be available. And so it's a new frontier and a place where there's a lot of need.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Danielle, are we ready to move to question 2?
We are. And if you feel like we addressed enough of question 2, we can also move on to 3. I was looking at number 4, so we don't have to stay in order.
I agree. I think we've covered that too. So let's move to what skills, technical and soft, are becoming must-haves for tech and cybersecurity roles. And let's look at today and the near future when we address that question, please.
Patrick.
There we go.
There are several skills. If looking at people who are more successful career-wise in cybersecurity, there are some skills that are standard, which are public speaking, technical writing. There are many people who work in technology that are geniuses that have a very difficult time communicating their ideas to people who are paying them or buying the products they want to sell. So communication is number one. Secondly, with respect to the first question, something else that I'm seeing in cybersecurity for people who went into it because they love it, thinking how do bad people think and what are bad people doing, is trying to detect when bad people are using AI or trying to detect when the AI is flawed, because both of those are security issues. So college courses that I had related to this were Introduction to Logic and Systems Thinking. And then finally, one more would be ethics. AI can make decisions, it can't make moral decisions. And so there have been times where people have used AI and it recommended something that lacked a human context to it on what was legal, what was not, what was moral, what was not. So communications, ethics, policy, systemic thinking, and critical thinking.
Excellent, Patrick. Thank you so much. We have another panelist that would like to.
Albert is raising his hand.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to piggyback what Patrick said. I agree. Communication is one of the key components in tech and cybersecurity. I think it's critical. One of the other ones, I would say problem solving. I know sometimes it's it's tied to tech, but when you're looking at problem solving, depending on if you're in cybersecurity or development or where problem solving skills are important. Obviously, they tie into analytical skills, understanding the needs of the stakeholders that you're supporting. Talking about some of the soft skills, it's important to really understand the business needs so that that can translate to the technical requirements that you're working on. And I do want to highly emphasize what Patrick said about ethics and ethical judgment. I think it's key with the expansion of AI, and people are very quick about sort of taking what AI is responding into results sort of just as the rule of law, and there's a lot of components around it where there has to be proper judgment and proper handling of that data, especially for large organizations where decisions have to be aligned with organizational and legal standards. So the tools are out there, there's a lot of information out there, but the ethics and the skills and the judgment that's involved is very critical.
Thank you, Albert. Hallucinations are real, right? AI can generate false information. One of the things I wanted to highlight before we go to the next panelist is, and I think it was talked about here, soft skills, both that was mentioned, and I want to kind of it's communication. I want to kind of highlight that. If you are a technical analyst and you're very technical and you understand the elements of the system inside and out, but you determine that there is a major security issue that you need to communicate to your manager or the team, you have to be a way that you have to do that in a way where they understand the sense of urgency. You can't just say, "Oh, well, I tried to tell you," and when the system blows up or when it goes down, I tried to tell you what's happening. So it's really just using plain English to identify, is this a critical issue, or is this the issue that I need to notify, the appropriate authorities within my organization? Those are the kind of things you want to be able to communicate to the team, and that will really make your team understand this is critical. We need to pay attention to it. Collaboration is key.
Thank you for that, Professor Williams. It's so key in so many industries, but I love how you just highlighted how important that is here. Janelle and then Mario.
I just want to add on to that communication point. It's a discipline that inherently involves contact with so many different kinds of people with so many different backgrounds, and you're going to talk to people who are incredible technically, but might have difficulty translating those thoughts into, but what does this mean for the business? What does this mean in the grand scheme of things? And you'll also meet people who can hold just an enormous amount of context in their head about, okay, well, if this is vulnerable, then here's what this could mean for the business. Here are the risks. Here's the responsibilities that we have. And in many ways, you're trying to be both, and you have to be able to talk to everyone. And most people that you're talking to won't have the same level of expertise and understanding of the security risks involved, and they have their own priorities. And so you need to be able to find not just compromise, but find out how to get on the same page. That's how you can really make progress.
Absolutely, Janelle. So critical. Mario, and then
Yes,
James.
Yes, I just want to piggyback from Patrick and Oliver and Janelle. And cybersecurity team and project leadership is essential, especially when all this the cyber initiatives, they have a different, it's a complex project. So we need to be able to coordinate all phases and all the efforts. And the technical side, we have to make sure that we're able to do some scripting and programming. If you're gonna be in cybersecurity, you need to be able to, scripting on Python, PowerShell. Because remember, now when we are interfacing with AI, we need to be able to automate. We need to make sure we do data analysis. And again, in order to build any of the security tools, you need to be able to do some scripting and programming. Python and PowerShells are the key in cybersecurity. Thank you.
James.
Yes. As I was listening to everyone and just continuing thinking about the soft skills and things like that. So in my experience, like if you're just entering IT, most likely you're going to be help desk. So you're going to be dealing with basically all the users, kind of like the public. So patience and being able to explain things. So kind of the aspect of like anyone that's ever been, say, a waiter, waitress, worked retail, where you got to deal with the public. Those are great soft skills to actually to build upon. On the education side, if you've ever been a tutor and you've actually, helped other people in your class or in any other class, dealing with like how to explain a subject different from what the professor or the instructor or professor teacher did, because obviously that's why they're there for help, because for whatever reason that method isn't working. So of course they're like, hey, this analogy wasn't working, can you help me? To just kind of keep on evolving with other analogies and trying to explain things, because help desk, you are going to be dealing with all the people, and a good portion of it will be partial training actually, like, oh, hey, when you try to print something, try to do it like this, blah blah, it won't cause an issue. And so those are going to be all kinds of soft skills to learn. And I think, like I said, if you're ever involved in tutoring, if you're ever involved in, like, say, retail or in the restaurant industry, just dealing with public, all those things will actually help you with that in terms of when you actually have to work with coworkers that obviously not within the IT department, that most likely are not familiar with IT or terms or anything like that. And then even beyond the help desk, when you go further and further up, and now then you start working more with the executives, who will have even less patience to utilize those skills that you might have learned before, either once again teaching other public to explain why no one's email is working right now. So soft skills are going to be tied to that. And like I said, for me, I did used to work retail, and I did a whole lot of tutoring, and I feel that has always helped me, especially at the entry level help desk, when you just have to talk to the general public that's not technical. Yeah.
I saw a lot of heads nodding, a lot of like agreeing with what you're saying, James. I see your hand up, Vincent. Did you want to comment to this?
Yeah, just a brief comment. I don't want to belabor the conversation, but it's one thing for certain is it seems like a common theme is in and around these soft skills, when the soft skills language wasn't even in the question. And so for anybody that's in the audience and listening, I think it's paramount that you kind of focus in and hone in on those particular skills. As I attend these industry advisory meetings that we have in Long Beach, we talk to industry partners, across the board from various different industries. That common thing always comes up. I think technical skills can always be taught. They're very straightforward. They're very easy to kind of reach. However, those soft skill pieces, right, may not be so much. I think one particular soft skill, as my panelists kind of already mentioned, the critical thinking and communication, which yes, I do believe in those. But as we're kind of working through these emerging technologies, more specifically AI, I think adaptability and resilience is big here, because as you're seeing the landscape change, you're seeing tech professionals even changing the way that they even practice. Right? In terms of like building programs and working with cybersecurity pieces. But yeah, I want just that put that out there for consideration. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that, Vincent. And Professor Williams, how about we move on to one of the next questions? I was looking at maybe 4 or 5. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's good. The certification path.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to read it?
Sure. What certifications or educational paths do you think hold the most weight or are losing relevance? So, what's the preferred educational path that you've seen, or are you noticing certain certifications don't hold the same weight as others? Who would like to start us off with that, with that question?
I see Trey's hand up, and I'd love to know also from you, Stephanie, if you've got some thoughts on that.
Okay, yeah, so I'll be kind of quick here because I know, at least, from what I've seen in the last few years, there's been a lot of talk about, I'm not gonna say there's been a lot of talk bashing college and what college can do for you. So I think, yes, it is true, college is getting a little bit more overpriced. But at the end of the day, there's plenty of opportunities to be able to go ahead and get that degree. I think that degree is the easiest way to say that you're competent in what you're doing. And so I still think I went all the way up to my master's. I got scholarships. Scholarships were available. I still think that is that's one of the best things that you can do for yourself to break into the field. But what I also think is that college is slowly losing some of that value. And so to keep yourself on an even pace, we're in the information age, there's plenty of information out there. You can pretty much self-teach yourself everything. College just gives you the roadmap. It's the road of least resistance. But as you are in school and as you continue to do stuff, I would say that one of the most important things is, and this is just for me as a developer, as an engineer, to make sure that your schoolwork is not the only work that you're doing. So make sure that you're doing projects that you find interesting on the internet. There's tons of tutorials out there. Make sure that you're trying to solve, after you do a few projects, then you can start to think, wow, like maybe I can apply what I've learned to start solving real life problems. And as you start to do that, you take yourself out of the barrel of, the economy is horrible, which it is, but the economy is horrible and I can't get a job coming out of college. And you start to put yourself into the place where you're almost irreplaceable due to, just the pure amount of work that you put in and knowledge that you've gained. So what I'll say is I still think college is a great choice, but you have to supplement it. You have to do the work outside. Because quite frankly, it's too easy to cheat now and you don't want to cheat yourself. So that's what I'll say.
Thanks, Trey. Do we have anyone else who would like to answer that question? Provide some input?
Stephanie and then Vincent.
I actually agree with Trey. I think I actually think college, like education, could be losing relevance because if you think about it, we could learn anything on YouTube. There's going to be Stanford, there's going to be MIT, all of these top colleges, all their professors posting the lectures and the entire course on YouTube. And that means a lot of these people who might not have enough money, but still want to pursue like having that financial stability, for example, they can just go to YouTube. And if they need more clarification, now we have the AI chatbots. We just ask a question and it will help us. And while I still would like to pursue a traditional pathway of going to college, I I will say my partner is actually a self-taught quantitative analyst. He was a college dropout because of the rising costs of college. And so what he did is he just had the discipline to learn everything that he needs to learn about the stock market. And honestly, I don't even know what he's doing now. He's working on a huge programming project for the market. And it's been really crazy, but it's really that discipline. And even though you might not have like that college degree, it doesn't mean that you can't learn the content outside of school. And so I would say the biggest thing to be competitive in the market nowadays, even if you don't have that degree, is having like a project, showing proof that you worked on something and all the skills that were relevant in the major apply to that project itself.
Stephanie, you took the words right out of the Career Center's mouth. And I posted a link in the chat, so I'm not going to say a whole lot about this, but we do partner with an organization called Parker Dewey, and they post micro internships, so short-term paid projects that students can apply for. Highly recommend them, and we're happy to speak more about it if students want to come see us.
And
Vincent.
real quick, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut
Oh,
you
go
off,
ahead.
Vincent.
Okay,
But to
go ahead, Trey.
to that point with the micro internships and they're paying you per project, that is how I got into my consulting and contracting business. And so it started off with those little projects, how I mentioned, but that really started to take off. And the clients are out there, the problems are out there to be solved. So just want to
A ton of
mention.
them. They're
Yeah.
constantly posting new things and they need
Right.
you. So
Right.
thank you for that, Trey. Vincent.
Yes, I agree with kind of Trey's perspective and Stephanie too as well. But of course, my perspective is a bit biased because I am an associate professor at a college. And so, Trey, I don't necessarily believe that you were necessarily bashing colleges. I think that you believe in a different type of learning style and a different type of system that worked for you, for your person. I think that and I talk about this in a lot of the tech classes that we have. Yes, I agree to the point that there are some certification, and we talk about this all the time, even with my career development center, that there are some certifications that have as much weight, if not more, than degrees. So when you're talking about certifications like CompTIA Security or Google Cybersecurity certificates, right? They have a lot of weight in the job market. And if I approached Google and I was applying to a job there, and I had a Google cybersecurity, certificate and a CompTIA security, they probably wouldn't even bother that I didn't have an associate or a bachelor's degree at this point. So there's a lot to be said about that. Now you're seeing this kind of wave of new certifications popping up now all over the place. I'm sure you have seen them, right? In and around generative AI, prompt engineering, AI governance, so on and so forth. And in kind of the AI slop of it all, right? How do I decipher which one's important for my person and which one isn't? I think that starting with, again, I like where Trey was going with that, starting with what you're passionate about, starting with what you're already kind of interested in, and problems that you can solve. I think at the end of the day, when you're seeking employment or looking for, really meaningful things in the workplace, I think employers really are looking for problem solvers, critical thinkers, people that have the technical skills, but also have the capacity to think through, the problems that we're having here and how do we solve those. So I think that kind of staying in that space and being agile will really work to your advantage. I think one of the things that colleges can provide that maybe, what Stephanie's talking to, yes, I agree with YouTube University. You probably could go there. You probably could teach yourself anything. Quite frankly, I taught myself a lot of things from this university. But at the same time, I think individuals going to college because different learning styles, what they provide is community. What they provide is a network. What they provide are social skills. What they provide are expertise that you can actually physically, organically talk to, And so, I think that both sides, probably could be beneficial to a person. I guess it really just comes down to what type of a learner are you and what do you think will work for your person, right?
Yes. Thank you, Caleb. Appreciate that.
How about we move on to question number 9? How does that sound to you, Professor Williams? What's one mistake? Yeah, what's one mistake or you looking at it now, you probably look at it as like one of your biggest learnings because we learn so much from our mistakes. But what's one mistake you made early in your career that you learned the most from?
Yeah, that's a good one.
James, do you want to go first, or Professor Williams, did you want to share your story first?
I will provide some input afterwards, but that's fine. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, it's oddly enough, it's something I've always thought. So when I entered college a long time ago, I did math, and my goal was to be a high school teacher. So I obviously did math, and I took on any type of tutoring job that the campus had for anything. So that was my goal. But somewhere down the line, I started getting interested in computers and started working in computer labs. And so this is around like 2000-ish area, year 2 or 3 into college, something like that. And always been on the Apple side. And if you're familiar with Macs, they had just switched over their system to being based off of Unix. So at the time, and I went to San Francisco State, they offered a Unix course, and I'd be like, oh yeah, sure, that sounds good. But still thinking math and teaching, and it was just a credit no credit class. So I didn't take it seriously. So I did the Unix course, and did not do it seriously. Did, like, since it was credit no credit, I think in the end I ended up probably with like no credit. And it wasn't until later on when I started getting more into computers and IT, and then I actually started working in corporate IT, and a coworker was doing, I think, Red Hat 6 at the point. He was getting into Linux. And I just keep thinking, like, how much better I would have been if I would have just taken that Unix course seriously, since that was eventually was going to be my actual career. And yes, it was fun to like diversify my education. They're like, oh yeah, let me take history, let me take this Unix. It's not related to math, but yeah, sure, why not? Expand your mind, kind of a thing. And I just didn't take it seriously. And I always wonder how further my career would have been if I would have learned Unix back in, like, say 2001, instead of like not getting into any Unix or Linux work wise until like almost 10 years later. So that's one thing that's always on my mind in terms of like um, definitely taking random courses, and even if it's off subject, to still be serious about it.
All right, great. Thanks, James. Appreciate that. Good input. Do we have another hand raised?
I don't see any other hands raised.
Good. I'm not good, but let me share my
Okay.
my point of view. And I'm going to tell you, and this is something that I'm going to share because this is I think that we're providing real talk here, right? So this is something that happened to me when I was in my IT career at the Aerospace Corporation. I had elevated to a director, performing at a very high level, large staff, managing Unix and Windows teams, and really supporting high performance computing. During some point, we had a reorg, and the reorg was to take me out of my position, and I had to reapply for another position. And so what that told me, that was something that was kind of earth shaking at the time, right? Well, if I'm doing well, why am I being moved out of this job? So to make the story short, yes, I reapplied for another job at the same level and end up building a large staff and continuing on. But what it told me, what I learned from that is that never become complacent, never get complacent in any job that you have. Continue to build skills that are current with, and stay with the trends. And one of the ways, and then we'll talk about how do you stay current in the field later, but it really just taught me to keep my options open and keep building my skills, keep my network open. So if something did happen, I could leverage my network to move on. But that's just kind of, I wanted to share that with the team, because hopefully it resonates with some folks and you take it for what it is.
Vincent, your hand was up. Did you still want to comment?
Yeah, sure. Let me go back here. The question was the mistake. For me, it wasn't really so much a mistake. And as I think about this, I think earlier in my undergrad and in my career, I kept trying to chase the newest, shiniest thing, the thing that made the most money. I was chasing the money. I was chasing the things that were shiny. And as I was chasing that, it moved, right? And so I was chasing something else. And so I had a lot of incomplete things just all over the place, right? I was just scattered. And even my students today, right? I need to do this thing so I can make all this money and do this other thing, right? I think for me, if I was to go back and do it all over again, I would stick in number one, what did I feel I was already great at? What did I feel my mind already was kind of primed to do? Am I good at math? Am I good at playing the piano? Am I good at, I was honing on there first. And then I would see kind of what's out there in the industry where I could insert myself and offer something that I was already great in. And so I think that to sum all that up, I kept focusing on a future self and not really honing in on what I'm able to do at this moment in time. I tell my students all the time, master the skill and the money will follow, right? I mean, if you're already great at something, people will find you, right? And when they find you, they will be blessed that they have such a great person on their team. So again, if I was to do it all over again, which I don't know, I love my life right now, so don't get it twisted like I don't like what I'm doing, but that's what I think about.
So
Thank
well
you.
said,
Yeah.
and so many people are agreeing with you, Vincent. Yeah. Doesn't mean that you did anything wrong, right? You're exactly where you're meant to be, it sounds like.
Yes, I agree. So, all right, Danielle, what do we want to go through
How
the?
how about we move into the future of tech? I think looking at the question, how can organizations and individuals adapt in such a fast changing field?
Right. Yeah, great question. Who would like to start us off?
Patrick.
There's two parts to be learning to be adaptable. Like the job that I have now didn't exist when I was in college. I studied chemistry in college. And on my way to this job, I had a half a dozen other jobs that didn't exist when I was in college. So the things to be adaptable are, or one, to be scrappy. Um, I think it was, I forget what it was that it might have been Trey. It's like the internships matter more than the degree, but you have to have the degree to go along with it. Just scrapping to get as many projects as you can, to knock on as many doors as you can, to have an opportunity to work in the field. And two is the ability to teach yourself a new skill. So, and if you can provide evidence of that through the projects that you work on, people say, oh, you know, I worked on my own and I found, I learned how to program. What did you program? Where is your code posted? How can we look and see uh, how this is, or what your way of thinking is? The bitter truth for most engineers I know, a lot of their work is still done through Google. They don't memorize every single command and every single coding language that they have. Google knows most of them, and they're really super good at it. Like, you have to be able to say, like, what is if I want to improve my skills or I want to solve a particular problem, where are the resources that can help me? Is it on the documentation for the product? Is it in a Google web search? Is it in a website? Is it in a YouTube video? And to be able to choose what resources that you can best use to help you develop your own skill set. Because the people that are at the top of the heap spend a good deal of their time researching what to do next, which is also another reason to think about um, a lot of the things of the importance of education doesn't appear to be important when the bottom line is the job. Learning research skills and how to do them quickly and under pressure is the skill that you learn during your education that'll help you stay adaptable in the workplace. All right.
Thank you, Patrick.
Wow. Patrick, I want to make a banner of that and hang it on all our campuses, because so much of what we learn in college are the things we don't anticipate using, isn't it? Like you said, you studied chemistry, but there's all these other things you learned through your studies that are still relevant today. And then you also learned everything else to make you, so skilled at your job today. Thank you so much for sharing that. Albert.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to sort of build on what Patrick mentioned, but I think in terms of the future of technology, from my perspective, to be successful, I think the number one thing is going to be embrace change. Being in technology, change is constant. And I think I saw a post recently that said, if you were born before 1998, you're older than Google. and it's changing, and it's constantly changing. The way we do our jobs is changing. Like Patrick said, we have engineers that utilize Google for what they're doing. And when you're in school and you're learning certain technology, certain things, um, understand that that's doing a dual role. It's teaching you the technology, but it's teaching you to understand technology and build on it. We're looking at a revolution nowadays with AI. Everybody's concerned that a lot of the jobs are going to go away. They're not going to be around, or is technology the right field to be in? There's some valid concerns there, but there's also the understanding that we've had technology change consistently. We had desktops 15, 20 years ago, and it's rare. Everybody switched to mobile devices. Your phone is more powerful than a lot of the mainframes that were out there, 15 years ago. What technology has been going through is a shift. Embrace change, understand where your skills are going to be applied, know that the skills you learn will pave a way for you to learn more. That's what you're going to have to do in technology. You're going to have to consistently adjust, which is why I say, to be successful with technology and the future of technology, you have to embrace change. And that's really the biggest things that I've seen. I would say that, just going to the prior question of what I may have been doing better or a mistake, is understanding that what you learn in school or in college, that, oh, I'm a C programmer, I'm a cybersecurity expert, and you think that that's what is going to pave the path for you, and then you find yourself, in cybersecurity and your background's from chemistry. Embrace change. Understand that you will build on it, and you have to adjust. And that's the key of really being successful in technology.
Thanks, Albert. I agree 100%. And I kind of convey that same message to my students and every class that I have, is that if you don't like change, if you're not used to change, or if change upsets you or frustrates you, then maybe IT is not the right path for you, because this changes every several days. You can find every month, and especially at the rate the AI is moving, change is constant. So thanks for that, Albert. Is there,
I
do we have-
think this is such an important part of this discussion, because I think a lot of students would love to hear from all of you. What was the moment in which you realized or decided that tech was the career panel for you? Then some of you did major in other things, maybe share what you majored in, or how did you navigate that? Were you undecided at some point? We have a lot of undecided students, and that sometimes feels like an isolated place to be, but it's actually so normal. A lot of times students can feel like everyone around them has it all figured out, already knows what they were going to major in, and the career path is so clear. But for many of us, it's not, was it?
No.
Trey, I see Trey's hand and James' hand and Vincent's laughing. Trey, you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. So, I kind of always knew that I wanted to be in some sort of field of technologies just because I really like computers. But I want to circle back and touch on, the field of technology is so huge, but I want to touch on how things are changing every day. And then maybe this can give you guys some insight into my story. So, like I said, I used to be a penetration tester as a kid. I would hack computers for fun, and really anything that I could get into, that's what I would do. And so I just figured, okay, well, kind of like doing this, so I'll just go to school for computer engineering. I heard they make money. That's pretty much the whole thing. I think I kind of floated around in limbo for the entire time when I was an undergraduate. And the software ChatGPT came out right after that Transformers paper in 2022, like late 2022. So I graduated in 2023. My college experience was almost done, my undergrad experience at least. At the time, I was planning to go do digital systems, which is pretty much yeah, making like electrical systems on a from a digital standpoint. And as soon as I saw, I think it only took me a month of using ChatGPT and technologies like really just ChatGPT and some of the llama models that came out, I kind of knew that that would bring forth a plethora of opportunities that so I kind of made a bet. I was like, okay, well, this seems super interesting to me. Let me keep learning. Let me keep continuing to learn how this operates. And so I guess to wrap it all up, this is a field that changes every couple of weeks in a big way. And so if we look at, even if you guys scroll through Instagram every day, and now it's starting to be indistinguishable from reality. Some of these AIs, like they'll get your grandma for sure. And so if you think 2 years ago, it couldn't even model the fingers on a hand correctly at all. And so I just think that potential is the reason why I went into AI and machine learning. And I think it's paid off for me in bounds. But what I'll say is just go after the stuff that you think is interesting, the stuff that you think is pivotal, even if you don't know, where exactly it's going to take you. So it's kind of all over the place, but that's a little bit of my story and how I got into doing what I do.
Thanks, Trey.
James? You're on mute. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
There. Okay. Yeah, so a lot of this was already people had made some comments on about this throughout the various questions, but one of the things is, like, as got mentioned earlier, once you leave college and you enter the workforce, you're going to realize that just that there's a whole lot of people that are co-workers at the various places that you're going to work that went to college and are in a field that they did not study for. That turns out to be the most common thing. So if you're entering college and you're either undecided or you know exactly what to do, it's very common to either way not end up in that. That is very common. Like a lot of my college friends, I want to say maybe 1 or 2 of them are actually in a field that they studied for, and the rest are not. So it's very common. So nothing to feel bad about or feel pressured in terms of being undecided. For myself, like as I mentioned earlier, I was since I was in high school, I was dead set on being a teacher. Initially history, but then I switched over to math in my senior year. So like I entered college declared. I was set to go. But then it was just kind of this, working on a computer, helping someone was just kind of there. It's there, and it didn't happen right away. It took a couple of years. And then, like I said, it was less tutoring jobs, more computer lab jobs. And a lot of it did because I ended up doing a minor in graphic design. So I was in front of, learning Photoshop and Acrobat, InDesign, all that fun stuff. So then it's all of a sudden it's like, yay, teaching, but now I'm in front of a computer. I'm like, oh, well, this is kind of cool. This is kind of cool. So I guess the concept of just take random courses if you don't know. Well, actually, even if you do know what you want to do. Like, yes, being self-taught is great, but a lot of times you're self-taught just on one thing. College gives you the opportunity to take random stuff, to take film appreciation just because. I did that, and it changed how I just viewed movies and conversations I had with friends. Like I said, ended up doing graphic design. I was like, oh, okay. And that opened me up to, which actually did help me out in IT in general, to like working in marketing companies and to be familiar with like Photoshop and all those programs. So for like anyone that is either they're set on what they want to do or they're not too sure what they want to do, just random courses, random history courses, random art courses. And a lot of times those oddball courses might be your the most fun ones. Like the 2 classes that I remember a lot from, one was history of math, and the other one was history of design. And I don't use them whatsoever, but just it just kind of just opens up in terms of what you might like, trying to find an underlying of why you do like something. Like it took me a long time to realize that one of the things I like about networking is relates to stuff when I was a kid, when I just like self-analyze of like, oh, I like how things flow. So like electricity, that flows, networking that flows. And like even the concepts of like plumbing, I'm like, oh yeah, water has to go from here to here to here, or gas have to go to here to here to here, and just getting that. I'm like if I were to understand the foundational stuff of what I do like, then I could have been more focused on what to actually do. But like I said, the randomness, being in college, stuff you have no reason to do. I don't know if it still exists now, but when I was in college, they had a thing called Segment 3 for the Cal State system. And where as a upper division student, you had to take like 9 units in something unrelated to your major. Like they forced you to do something else. And I did that, and I still read history books now. And if it wasn't for those classes, I probably would have been like not really too interested in continuing that aspect. And to even bring that into IT in some odd way in terms of how you relate to people, of like, oh yeah, well, see, this one's happened in the past, so that's why we're not going to do that because it failed. But to just, like I said, diversify your courses. You never know what will actually snag you. You can search YouTube all day, but to just kind of take a random course and something might get you, you might meet people that actually get you into a subject, or pull you out of something that you're going to do. So either way, like just take random courses if you know, or even if you don't know.
Thanks, James. Appreciate that. Good input. Was it Danielle? Was there anybody else that wanted to?
Well, Stephanie was making some comments in the chat. I was wondering if you wanted to share anything about your own career journey.
Yeah, I could share mine. Well, I guess from high school, I had a lot of robotics experience. And so I just knew like, oh, I like to physically build things and like, bring these projects to life. And so that's how I decided I wanted to do engineering. But I think once I started my first semester, I still wanted to branch out and see like other types of engineering because there's just so many. And so I did like a civil engineering research project and it was okay, but I guess to sum up, the one interest that stood or stayed with me was cars and like automotives. And so I'm staying with I'm sticking with mechanical engineering because I want to work on cars and engines. But yeah, I said like real estate and like just as like maybe a side hustle, but it turns out I did not like it. So I was like, I better stick with something that I actually have a passion for.
Yeah, that sticking with something and working and identifying what you have a passion for really helps as you move forward in your career, because you feel like you don't feel like if you have a lot of work to do, you feel like, yeah, it's work, but you love the work. And so that it's not as bad. You still get tired. You still might not want to do it, meet the deadline, but you have that passion, that love for it. It makes it a little easier to deal with those tasks.
That's right. Yeah, it's such an important point, and it's not a waste of time either. I mean, several of you have shared other things you did first, and it helped get you where you are. Mario.
Yes, I want to share my story. Initially, I got a full ride to College LA as playing soccer. The first season, I got injured, so I was desperate. So I quit College LA, and I ended at Trade Tech. Start taking some of the general eds, assuming I'm gonna go back. While I was at Trade Tech, I met one of the computer instructors, which at that time he was one of the directors for the district. So I was helping on his class, and he offered me a student worker position on the data center, the LA Community College District. So I was a student worker, and I was going, still injured. I was going to Trade Tech taking my general eds. So that opportunity, LA Community College District, I make it into a career. This is my 27th year at the district. I got my bachelor's degree from College LA in computer information systems. I got a master's in cybersecurity. And again, the technology wasn't my field. But again, you need to do something that you enjoy. You need to do something that you really feel fulfilled, and always go for what your heart is telling you to do. There were many times some of the managers of the district, they keep telling me, computers is not for you. You need to find a different field. Most of those managers are gone from the district and are still working at the district. So just go for what you feel is the best for you. And like I say, you never know where you're gonna land.
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Mario.
I'd love to open it up to Shauna from LA County Fire and her team to see if any of them would like to answer this question.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I've learned so much and I can relate. Even though I am not a direct IT professional, I can attest that I did go to college. I got a degree in human services, but I started out studying English because I was trying to run away from math. And I had one conversation with a young lady. She said, "Have you ever heard about human services?" I had never heard about human services. I went to my career counselor the next day at school and I said, "Tell me about human services." I knew that I didn't have to deal with math and I love dealing with people, and that was the career path for me. And I joined the County of Los Angeles as a child support officer many years ago, and I left child support after 17 years as the chief equity officer. So going back to the echoing of my job that I left in didn't exist when I first got hired with the county, but I stayed open, I stayed flexible. I went and got a certificate in DEI from Cornell. And so when I saw different trends and different things emerging, I knew that I wanted to be part of closing the gap and solving problems. And so I remained curious. And that has landed me in the role that I'm in. And I'm so grateful. I dropped the link in the chat. We want to make sure that we're inviting everyone to explore the different career opportunities with LA County, and specifically those pathways into tech and cybersecurity, because the county is a great job to have with the pension, and we need people who can solve problems, who can think critically, and who have the cultural competency and the cultural humility to be able to work intergenerationally, be able to work with people from different languages, different socioeconomic backgrounds, different levels of abilities. I have an amazing, amazing team. One of the analysts on my team, her name is Faye, and I know we're wrapping up, but she came from the fashion industry. And so when we start talking about how we ended up where we are, I'm a woman of faith. I just believe that we're all supposed to be here doing the work that we're doing in our respective lane, solving the problems that we're solving, and making life better for the communities and the people in our care in our respective lanes, from career counseling to equity to IT to public safety. And just really, really grateful that my team and I had an opportunity to be here to listen, to learn, and to add value in our own way. Thank you.
And you
Sean,
absolutely
very well
are.
said. Very well said.
And Faye, did you want to add anything, or Raquel?
No, but thank you for offering. I think Shauna has summed it up for us. This has really been a great panel to be a part of it, to listen in. I've really learned a lot today. And I think as a number of the panelists mentioned, continue to stay curious, continue to learn, and it doesn't matter what field that, maybe you came from, you may end up in a different field. So I hope you all will take an opportunity to take a look at our slides. And as Shauna said, we invite you also to come and apply for LA County Fire. You never know, where you may land. Thank you all. Stepping back.
Thank you, Faye. Really nice. I like to add one quick thing is that true. Everybody had said this, but where you start is not necessarily where you're going to end up. I started in the mailroom. I didn't stay in the mailroom, but it had no indication of where I was going and my path and where I ended up. So just wanted to add that. So
Absolutely. And I know Elizabeth dropped some information about LA Tech's Spring Rising internship. Elizabeth, did you want to say any quick words about it as well?
Yeah, so we are currently recruiting for Spring 2026 cohort. This is a 12-week Rising internship program where you get like participants get to network with other professionals in the field of software, cybersecurity, IT, and AI. And also they get paired with a mentor. So I know mentorship is very important, especially as you're starting in your career. So having a mentor is really, allows you to know more in the industry.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Lizbeth. And as far as our team here goes, Professor Williams, Kimberly, Liliana, are we seeing any other questions in the chat? Questions from any attendees? Is there maybe time for one if you see one?
I'm looking through now.
I also see Moretta here from Build LACCD. I was wondering if Moretta, did you want to say a few words about the Build LACCD internship?
Hi, everybody. This was a great panel and great information. Actually, I messaged one of our students that was very interested in this, and she joined the conversation, so that was great. I run the internship program for Build LACCD for all 9 college campuses. I'm grateful that 2 of our supervisors, department heads were here, Patrick and Albert. I know how busy you guys are, and I appreciate you guys being here. But I do want to be able to say to students, I do work with Patrick and Albert to be able to place students with their departments with regards to IT. So if you are interested in applying, you can go to our website, buildlaccd.org, and just click on paid internships. I'm year round, so you can apply at any time. I will normally receive your application and your resume, and then I'll reach out to you guys. We are grateful to the district for allowing our students to be able to be there, and we have quite a few positions that normally the district will take in for various areas of IT. And so please apply if you're interested, and I can go into more details about the program. Thank you for allowing me to kind of announce to everybody. Danielle.
Of course, Moretta, of course. And for students, if you're needing any support in finding that application or filling out the application, please contact your career center here at West or at Harbor or whichever college you are with. Okay, I do see a question now. So I'm going to ask this question, Professor Williams. It says, what are some specific certifications that are good for IT or cybersecurity?
Yeah, great question. So there are 2 of the main ones, and we kind of talked about it earlier. There's probably 3. So CompTIA has Security Plus and Network Plus. So Security Plus leverages the security portion of tech, and Network Plus addresses the infrastructure. Those 2 jobs are definitely going to be in demand for quite some time because we're building data centers like crazy, right? AI is causing not only a move to the industry to move fast, but industry. You need data centers, you need power. So those things are going to be those certificates. And the last one is CCIP, which is mentioned, CISSP, which is mentioned here. It's a certificate in security, certified information security specialist, something like that. But those are kind of the 3 that I would concentrate on. AI certificates are great. Practitioner cloud certificates are great as well. But those are the 3 that I would highlight.
Great. Liliana, do you see any other questions from students or attendees that we should read out loud?
Yes, I was just posting on the chat. Let me see. I don't want to skip anyone. Okay. Second. This is for the panelists. What problems do you see right now in cybersecurity that startups could potentially solve that larger corporations don't or want to?
Yeah, I'll just start by saying I think that startups can solve integration of tools in cybersecurity is kind of a path that a lot of the panelists have talked about. So if I was a startup, I would concentrate on looking at popular tools that are being used, and what kind of value can I add to those tools? What kind of AI component can my startup develop that can be an add-on to a cybersecurity environment?
There's a new term that's growing here in this space called shadow AI. I think you may have heard of it or seen it, but it's around ungoverned AI agent risk. And so what you're seeing is you're seeing more employees and teams kind of start to use LLMs and plugins and automation agents outside of sanctioned IT oversight. And so I think that's something that may be growing in kind of the cybersecurity space is looking at, kind of how to secure kind of these ad hoc tools that are being utilized in these spaces. I'm sure at Trey, you've probably seen some stuff, where individual employees are kind of utilizing kind of their own kind of, toys, if you will, in those
Right.
spaces. And quite frankly, it's hard to kind of govern that, right?
Right. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's going to be a huge thing moving into the future. Just how are we going to start regulating these systems of agents, especially when people are creating their own to get their work done. So I have seen some of that. I've used some of that. I don't necessarily have an answer for it though.
Yeah. And
James
I know
has a comment as well.
go ahead. Jay.
Yeah, so not exactly that, like say what corporations are not doing versus startups. In my experience of working with like super small companies and then going on to like I've even worked at like BlackRock, is the smaller the company is, the more like the Wild West it's going to be. Less rules, less regulation. So as they were saying that they're going to use their own tools regardless if it's sanctioned by IT or not. And it is what works for small companies because small companies move faster, and that's probably why they move faster, because they use less rules. And corporations are going to be, especially if it's a publicly traded company, they're going to be hounded down by way more of compliance and red tape, general bureaucracy that corporations will have. So that's kind of one reason why, like, say, startups may appear that they're doing stuff that corporations don't do, but it's just because they're younger and less rules. And once again, like every place I've went to that's been like even some places that are like 400, like as big as 400 people, there's still that element of we just got to do to get something done, whatever it takes. People bring in their own tools, of course, now, like I said, like with AI unsanctioned, and some of it can be good, but on the other time, it's from an IT standpoint, we don't really want things unsanctioned, so it's a very different environment, small business going all the way up to corporation with that stuff. So, and they just handle things differently, and a lot of it just has to do with rules or lack of rules.
Thanks, James.
And no, I don't see any other student questions.
Okay, great. I think we are going to be ending just a tiny little bit over time, but not much. I want to thank all of the panelists so greatly. Oh my goodness. The gratitude is it's bigger than life right now. Your wisdom, your stories, your expertise, your vulnerability, all of it, the technical things you're able to share, it's just invaluable for students to hear, and alumni as well. I think we have some alumni on this call. So again, just want to thank you all for being here, and please continue to do all the great work you do, and continue to collaborate with us and all of our colleges, because we couldn't do this work without you. Professor Williams, any final words?
I want to thank the Career Center. Excellent presentation. Thanks for pulling that together. The last thing I'll say is, for AI, buckle up, because it's going to be a long and wild ride. We're just at the beginning of what AI can do, so get ready. Thanks. Take care, everybody.